Come on.
Look at her.
Oh, goodness me,
puffed up,
get yourself a
looking
postcard of
gorgeous.
that.
Not the view.
Hey, what about some cracking science? In 2021, 4 scientists, Horsburgh, Mitchell, Dawson and Maher, from the universities of York and Sheffield, went out and collected piles and piles of Nightjar Pooh from their nest sites and their roost sites, and they analysed it using the capacity to identify prey in it with its DNA. And they came up with some fascinating results. I've got a graph here. The first thing is that they found that 99% of all of the poo had Lepidoptera in it. That's butterflies and moths, clearly moths, because it's nightjars, they're foraging at night. 27% of it had flies in, just 9% beetles. So most of their food is moths. But then they could identify those moths to species level. Then they ran a moth trap, and the results of that are shown here in terms of moth size. So the moth trap is a means of sampling all of the moths that are in the environment where the nightjars are living. And then they looked at the percentage of those sized moths in the nightjar's diet. So look, here's the moth trap data here. So that's the percentage of moths that are smaller than a wingspan of 2.5 centimetres. Here are the middle-sized moths, and here are the larger moths. So this is the percentage in the moth trap. But look at what the nightjar's actually eating. It's eating far fewer of the smaller moths and a far greater number, a disproportionate number, of the larger moths. Moths with a wingspan of greater than 6 centimetres. Really big moths. And this is an example of what we call size-selective foraging. What's more, the DNA was so accurate, they didn't identify just the size of the moth, obviously, but the species of the moth. And they found that this species, the greater yellow underwing, appeared in 52% of all of the fecal samples that they collected. Not surprising, perhaps, because this moth has increased by 72% in recent years. They also found, in second place, this species, the true lover's knot. This appeared in 49% of all the species, but this is more unusual, because this species, in the same period of time, has declined by 88%, except that it's doing quite well on heathlands, where the nightjars are foraging. So clearly here, in this super national nature reserve, with all of the heathland, the nightjars are doing very well, but we have to worry about birds that are feeding on moths outside of that, because Butterfly Conservation's State of the Nation's moths tell us that in the last 50 years, the population of larger moths in south of England has gone down by 39%. So whilst nightjars are actually increasing very slowly at the moment, many other species that are feeding on large moths or their caterpillars, things like cuckoos, are in decline.
Isn't that amazing what you can find out by delving into Nightjar Pooh?
I love that. That's proper science. Top work, guys, top work.